Hi everyone, today we're going to be making cookies and cream Mickey Mouse cupcakes. So first, we're going to start making our cupcake batter. It's just a regular chocolate batter. So we're going to start out with our butter and sugar. And just cream those two together until it's light and fluffy. Run and mix it together a little bit and stick down the sides. And some soap. Alright. Once you have that combined, you can just add in your eggs and vanilla. I like to get a little happy on the vanilla, especially since the chocolate will overpower it. Okay, that mix should scrape down the sides. So we'll mix. And then we'll grab our sifter. We're just going to sift all the dry ingredients in. So I have all-purpose flour, salt, cocoa powder, and then baking soda and baking powder. Sift that right into your batter. Have that. Start mixing very slowly. And then at this point, you can see that it looks like cookie batter more than cake batter. And then since that is, don't worry about that. We're just going to slowly add in our warmed milk that's warmed up just a tiny bit. And since we just have a little bit of milk left to pour in, I'm gonna add one more ingredient that's not in the original recipe, but I like to add it in my chocolate recipes, which is espresso powder. And for this, you don't need a lot. So I'm just gonna add in half a teaspoon for this cake recipe. And you won't really taste it at all. It just helps deepen that chocolate flavor. Add milk. Alright, since we have everything mixed in, you're just going to go to the side and scrape everything off. Just in case there's any thick pieces on the bottom or any missed flour. So you got everything. Alright, and since we have that done, the original recipe is made for 2 dozen cupcakes, but I'm just going to make a mini loaf cake with my second amount. But you're just going to fill up your cupcakes halfway. So I like to use a ice cream scooper to help fill up, and it makes it easier. Alright, since we have all the cupcakes filled, we're just going to give it a few taps to help get all those air bubbles out. And you can see that it's coming up from your cupcakes as you go around. So we're going to pop these in the oven and let these bake off. We're going to bake these about 15 minutes and check them then, toothpick it to make sure it's done, and go from there. And then I'm going to take the rest of this batter and put it into this little cake to help make slices. It's not going to do a lot, but it's a tiny cake. It'll just be a little tiny cake we'll stack. And I'll take to a friend of mine that really likes chocolate. And for this one, since it is smaller, it's not much batter as a light for one of these, we're going to check this at 10 minutes and just go from there. All right, and while that is going, we'll go ahead and get started on our buttercream for it. So for our buttercream, we'll start off by creaming together the butter and cream cheese. And the butter, I let it sit out for a bit, and I just warmed up the cream cheese for a couple seconds. For this, I'm going to take my whisk attachment so I can try to beat as much air into it so it's a very fluffy buttercream. Alright, that's a pretty good whip. Now we'll just go and screw it on the sides so I can get everything in the center and make sure it's nicely incorporated. Alright, and then I did go ahead and sift my powdered sugar to try to get out as many lumps and clumps, because powdered sugar really does clump together, especially if it's been sitting for a while. Right, now we'll sift in our powdered sugar. If you haven't already sifted it but I went ahead and did it, so we're just going to add a little bit in at a time and go from there. Alright, and since we have about half of it in, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little mixy mix to make sure everything's combining very nicely. And remember, try not to add a lot of powdered sugar in while you're doing this, especially if you don't have a cover on a stand mixer or anything, because it will go everywhere. And it's fine if your frosting's looking a little thick. We're going to be adding a loosener to help with that. But we're just going to go ahead and add in all of our powdered sugar. And since it's going ahead and being really thick, start adding our heavy cream. Heavy cream will help loosen it without bringing down the taste or anything. And we're going to use about 2 tablespoons, but depending on how much your powdered sugar is, some powdered sugar, it all depends on how you weight it, will be a little more, some will require a little less, it all depends. So we're just going to start out with 2 tablespoons. And since there's a little bit of powdered sugar on the side, scrape that. And then continue mixing it. Alright. Everything has been combined. So we're just gonna go. Alright. It looks good. Mine is a little loose. So I'm going to put a little bit of powdered sugar in it. But first I'm gonna go ahead and add my crushed Oreos. And then for the Oreos, you're just gonna fold this in. And then I would go ahead and do the Oreos first, so then you can see how thick, if it's still a little too loose or a little too thick for you. Because the Oreos can help with that since you're adding something. And then you want to add it in so you don't have any big spots of powdered, of any white powdered sugar mixture. All right, and my batter looks as thick as I want it to be. So we'll just throw this in. I'm just gonna go ahead and put some film on this, throw this in the fridge until my cupcakes are good and cooled. All right, I went ahead and put our Oreo buttercream in the bag, and we're just gonna go ahead and pipe. Just give it a really good dollop swirl. And you can put as much and as little frosting as you want on your cupcakes. All right, we have those, and then we're just going to make our ears. So I just went ahead and got some mini Oreos. We're just going to place them down. And if you want to do extra stuff, especially if it's a themed party, you can get some buttons and just put it on the side of your liners. All right, and there we go, our Mickey Mouse cookies and cream cupcakes. It looks really good, and the cupcake recipe is really good. Like I said, I would personally add in that espresso powder or a little bit of coffee to give it that extra kick. But other than that, really good recipe. So I'll see you guys next time. Let me know what you want later. Bye.